Good morning, church. More and more people are returning to church worship as we slowly recover from the pandemic. I made my first appearance at one of this weekend's church masses. However, Scripture today reminds us that just coming to worship will not suffice if we're simply hoping to get back to the good old days. The quarantining in the past year has given us an awareness of those who have been hurt by the pandemic. The majority of the people who suffered and died from COVID-19 were Black and Hispanics. And the isolation also placed before our eyes the injustice faced by African Americans at the hands of law enforcement. We've also seen a global scale of ability of rich nations to get a vaccine, while poorer nations are scrambling with little or none for their communities. If we have not learned the reverence that God wishes us to have for all His people, we will fail to bring about the justice in our world that God demands. Let me read the first reading from the Scriptures today. It is from the book of Amos. It's chapter 7, verses 12 to 15. Amaziah, priest of Bethel, said to Amos, "Off with you, visionary! Flee to the land of Judah. There earn your bread by prophesying, but never again prophesy in Bethel, for it is the king's sanctuary and a royal temple." Amos answered Amaziah, "I was no prophet, nor have I belonged to a company of prophets. I was a shepherd and a dresser of sycamores. The Lord took me from following the flock and said to me, 'Go prophesy to my people Israel.'" Many years ago, I was sent to pastor an all-white church community. The two pastors prior to my arrival had only stayed a couple of months each. The community was extremely annoyed when I was assigned and said, "Who does the bishop think we are, sending us a priest who only worked with African Americans to be our pastor?" However, they were all there on Sunday morning for worship. In the month of February, Black History Month, I told the community that I was inviting some African American people who would speak to us on the Black experience of living in America. For the whole month of February, only half the community came to church. And even the religious education teachers did not show up to teach the children. Then in March, they were all back in church again, ready to worship. "2,500 years ago, the prophet Amos tells the community that just going to church will not answer the call of God if they're not aware of the poor in their midst." Bethel was the second most important church in Israel, next to Jerusalem. And I suspect that any priest would have been happy to have had such a rich and powerful church community gathered for Sunday worship. Today, the cautionary tale of Amos is placed before us as a reminder of how God sees a church community. Hopefully, the reverence we have for all God's people will help make our church community one that is pleasing to God and helpful in bringing about the justice for all that God desires. God bless you.